Okay, so Omni Local, if you've been watching our videos before, we have what's called a pitch platform, and it's a presentation about you and your business. When you go to some networking arenas, they say to you, whatever you do, don't talk about your business, let's get to know you. Well, now that we're all going back to normal, and now we're all going to be sitting in traffic and whatnot, so I'd like to be spending that time thinking how I can help you, like most other people that network, and how can I give you referrals? But unless you talk about your business, I'm not going to be able to do that. If you talk about butterflies, all we know is you know a shed load about butterflies. We don't know what you do. We don't know how you do it. We don't know if we can trust you. And we then don't know who we can give you referrals to. So it's really important that you get this time when you've got the attention and opportunity to speak at this level, then it's really good to do that. So today we've got Denise. Denise, I'll give you until just about 9 o'clock. So please feel free to just take your time and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. My name is Denise. I'm from the HR Dept. And I'm an outsourced HR provider. I provide support of all things HR to SMEs within the Wimbledon New Malden area. And today I want to tell you about a little bit about what I do and how I help those people thrive in their business. Who thinks employment law is about justice? Who thinks it's about protecting the employee? Who thinks it's about protecting the employer? Well, you're all wrong. It's a game of snakes and ladders. The ladder is business opportunities and the snake is business pitfalls. This is a story about Brian Wiz. Brian worked for many years as a widget maker and in the Wimbledon area. In fact, he was the best widget maker ever. One day he thought, I could do this. I always wanted to run my own business, and so he left and started Wiz Widgets. Okay, had he known our graphic designer Nicola, he might have come up with a different and a better name, but his reputation got him lots of business really quickly. In fact, he was so excited that he started talking about taking on a salesman, or person in this instance. In the pub that night, he met Dave. Most of you know Dave, who said to him, come on, mate, if you're going to take on a person, you need to take on the HR Dept to help you recruit and be compliant. But Brian thought he could do it himself. And he did. He recruited a very good salesperson and he generated loads of sales. So he moved along the snakes and ladders. So he moved along nicely in the snakes and ladders, but then his salesperson left and he went with one of his competitors. And without a contract in place and no restricted covenant, Brian was left exposed and he lost a lot of customers to his competitor. And he also lost one or two of his best widget makers. So he was in a bit of a problem and he went right back down on his snakes and ladders board. Then he thought to himself he needed to refocus and get started again. And he's a very resilient guy. So this time he was down the pub again and Dave said, look, you need to really employ the HR Dept now, who will help you and you won't get into these pitfalls. So he did, and he contacted me and we recruited a very good salesperson and we put in a very good contract and we had a restricted covenant in place. We also introduced a handbook and we employed an administrator who helped with all of his administration, payroll, finance, and he was being very successful. Then we needed to develop the business further and we put in an appraisal system and we put in some employee engagement staff surveys every year. And Brian went along and he became one of the best widget companies in Wimbledon. And he had no pitfalls. So we gave him employment law advice, protected by tribunals, job descriptions that were specific to the roles he needed, induction, handbooks, performance management, coaching, training, engagement motivation incentives, absent management, disciplinary and grievance and disciplinary support, and systems and support to help with this. Pay structure, benefits, employee assistance programs to help with the well-being and retention and engagement for his staff. And Brian still manages his wonderful widget company and Denise still supports him. And that is what we do for SMEs in the Wimbledon New Malden area And if you know of anybody who would like some support, a free review I give and a HR audit, and we discuss what they need and what supports they need. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you very much. Well done, Denise. If you could just drop the screen now. If you're watching this video and you've got any questions, Denise's details will be in the description below, and make her one of your go-to people for HR. Brilliant.